Okay, I think that's all working. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another day of lockdown lessons. Sorry for the slight delay this morning. That won't be happening the rest of the week. I'll be on at the normal time of 11. So today's lesson is again the beginning of a new series this week. Morning, TC. This week we'll be looking at the function of our eyes, how they work, how they feel, and how they can potentially change how they feel as we work with them a little. So there's different subjects that we're going to kind of look at, but within the kind of the understanding of the Feldenkrais method, the eyes hold a kind of a specific importance in terms of organizing the kind of muscle tone of the body. So to kind of to briefly explain that, as we are young, as we're children, as we're babies, as we begin to orientate ourselves to the world, our eyes are really the kind of the way that we give direction to our movement. So we look at something and then we head towards it. So in some way, it's like the eyes are the kind of the organizer of our motion in some way. So when we begin to work with the eyes, it's actually quite a deep process and can have some effect on, the overall muscle tone of the body. So that's a little introduction. Today's lesson is going to be looking at tracking and the ways that the eye is used, the way that we track objects with the eyes. I've been doing a bit of my own research around this subject recently and just reading up about, what the eyes do and how they work. And motion perception is, I think, probably the main aspect of scientific investigation at the moment in terms of kind of like how the eyes make sense of the information that they see in front of them and how we then perceive that information. So there's a little delay between the images from the outside world and then our perception of them. And that's how you can get like visual illusions and stuff like that. But today I want to kind of talk about three different aspects of this tracking. And that's to do with like the motion that's possible. The first motion that's possible, if you just close your eyes or close your eyelids, I'll be specific. If you close your eyes and just move your eyes around with your eyes closed, not looking at anything, and just feel that you can move your eyes without moving your body. So there's this ability for the eyes to kind of look. You could even, if you wanted to, you could open your eyes then and look around the room and see that you can look around the room into different areas without moving your body position. What you can also notice as you're doing that is that we've got this this lens on the front of the eye that gives us high definition vision in a certain aspect of the visual field. So you can look at an object and perceive it very clearly, but the images on the periphery, they're less clear. They're a bit more blurry. Doesn't mean you can't see them, but it's like the center of our visual field, where the lens is looking. That's where we have the most clarity. So what we're doing as we're moving our eyes around is kind of using this center of our visual field to kind of look at different things and make sense of them, which is really what we're trying to do with vision. Okay, so then what I'd like you to do is close your eyes again. Close your eyes again, and then just turn your head a little to the left and a little to the right. See if you can do it without moving your eyes. So that the movement of the head is the thing that's guiding your eyes to turn to the left and to the right, but your eyes aren't making an effort to do it. The eyes are following along. And so this is basically that the eyes are still. The eyes aren't in motion, but the body's in motion. So you've kind of got these two aspects. The eyes can be moving, the body can be moving, and the visual field that we're perceiving is able to make sense of these two separate motions or motion abilities. Okay, and then you can just have a little rest from that. And then the last one is that the world moves. So for example, if you're sitting in a car or on a train and you're still, you're stationary, your eyes are stationary, but the world is moving, right? Something's moving across your visual field. You're not doing anything, your eyes aren't doing anything, but in some way there's motion outside you, okay? What you may notice if you've ever sat across from someone watching out of a window on a train or in a car is that their eyes do this very interesting flicking and backwards and forwards. And they're trying to kind of use that middle part of the lens, the focal point, to kind of track objects. And it looks a little strange as you look at it. So anyway, that's a little introduction to the capability of the eyes in perceiving motion. Now let's kind of head into the lesson. So I'd like you to find a comfortable position to sit in. And just take a moment to feel your breathing. And as you take a moment, so whatever you've been up to this morning, whatever kind of has been going on, whether it's like a mental activity or something you've been doing in the day, just let your attention kind of be drawn back in gently to yourself. So it's like giving an opportunity for your attention to come back. Good. And then close your eyes, close your eyelids. And then what I'd like you to do is imagine an object. So personally, I'd recommend an animal, just because it kind of gives us that sense that we're tracking something through movement. So if you pick a cat or a dog or a cheetah or something, and what I'd like you to do is just make a movement where you're following this animal over to the left, along the horizon, and then back to the middle, okay? So just with your eyes, you're keeping your head still, you're not using body movement at this point. You're taking your eyes and you're following this object over to the left and then back to the middle. And just do that movement a few times. As you make that movement, as you follow this animal over to the left along the horizon, see if you can really take time to make that movement smooth. The tracking of this object is comfortable, smooth, your breathing is regular. And keep it the same as you come back to the middle. So you don't go fast out to the edge and slowly to the middle as you take your eyes over to the left and then back to the middle. I think it's not often we spend a bit of time kind of consciously moving our eyes. So maybe it's quite an interesting experience. Good. And then take a rest. Take a little rest. If you need to, when you rest, you can open your eyes or you can keep them closed. In some way, it's quite nice to keep them closed because the eyes have to work when they are processing light. So when you remove light from the equation, they can be a little bit more sensitive. When you're ready, begin to trace this animal over to the right along the horizon. So you're following the movement of this kind of imaginary animal over to the right along the horizon, keeping your head still. So it's just the movement of the eyes going over to the right and coming back to the middle. And again, see if you can keep a uniformity of speed so that as you take your eyes over to the right, you're taking your time, you're breathing, you're feeling whether the movement is smooth or jumpy, and then you're coming back to the middle, following the same speed. And just do that movement a few times. Notice if you kind of feel any difference in yourself as you take your eyes to the right, in comparison with how it felt taking your eyes to the left. You might find that it's more comfortable for you to look to the right, or for your eyes to look to the right than it is to the left. It could be to do with like our habitual position or our habitual use of the eyes. Good. Do it a couple more times to the right. Kind of making sure that you're along the horizon, you're not dropping down, you're not looking down as you go away and then coming back to the middle, going up as you go away and coming back to the middle. See if you can keep that movement along to the horizon. This is kind of, this is what we would do if we're trying to organize our vestibular sense, keeping a sense that the world is in one place makes it easier for us to track an object. If you contrast that with trying to follow something, if you're on a roller coaster or doing a somersault, that the world is moving in such a way that it makes it very difficult to track an object. Whereas if you're still, the movement of the eyes is very capable of tracking this object. Okay, and then just come back to the middle and rest. Come back to the middle and rest. Keep your eyes closed if you can. Maybe you can bring your attention back to your breathing for a moment and just feel that the eyes can be at rest. So that then there isn't any activity, they're not going over to the left and they're not going over to the right. They're staying rested in the middle in some way. Good. Now, leaving your eyes resting in the middle, I'd like you to begin to turn your head. Turn your head. Let's start with the right this time. So turn your head a few times to the right, as if you want to look at something over to the right, but see if you can leave your eyes still. So it's useful to close your eyes as you do it, having the sense that your eyes are closed and you're not using the mechanism of vision or sight to head over to the right. You're just turning the head and leaving the eyes as relaxed as possible. You can feel that the eyes or the sort of our ability to perceive is being carried along. So it's here and then it's here and then it's here and then it's here. And maybe as you're not using your eyes, as you're carrying your head or carrying your eyes with your head across to the right and back to the middle, maybe you can feel that the lack of work in the eyes to look can actually have an effect on the muscles of the neck and further down in the torso. So it may be feeling easier to you to turn your head right now than it would normally. Good. And come back to the middle. If you've done that a couple of times, take a mini rest. And then when you're ready, leave your eyes in the middle again, so that they're rested, they're being carried, and turn your head to the left and back to the middle. Okay. So the eyes aren't doing any work. And again, see if you can find this smoothness of movement, even in the neck, even in the movement of the head over to the left and back to the middle. See if you can kind of find this comfortable movement. So you don't go past your comfortable range. You don't go out and kind of like stretch your head as if to see as far as you possibly can. As soon as you notice yourself come into discomfort, that's a good moment to come back to the middle. Okay. So we often think that change is something that we have to get through hard work and through, in some way, pain. But often, actually, it's following this idea of comfort, towards comfort, moving towards comfort, that can give us the best possible way of changing. What it does is kind of stimulating the brain to prefer that type of action. Whereas if you're constantly going up to the edge of your range and pushing past what feels comfortable to you, it's almost like you're convincing your brain to not want to do the thing that you're trying to tell it to do. It would be great if maybe after the lesson people can let me know if that makes sense. Okay, and then come back to the middle. Come back to the middle. And what I'd like you to do now is just take a little rest. And then once you've done that, begin to take your eyes over to the right. Feel the point that the eyes come to their kind of comfortable ending range. Feel the point that the eyes come to their comfortable ending range. And then turn the head and follow the eyes even more till the head comes to the end of its comfortable range, and then bring everything back together. Okay. So I'll describe that one more time. So you're going to take your eyes, just your eyes, along the horizon over to the right. And then as soon as they start to feel like this is the end of my comfortable range, then you're going to turn your head. You're going to turn your head and then get the head to the end of its comfortable range and then come back. Or when I say the end of its comfortable range, it can be within its comfortable range. It's just the point that you start to feel like the movement's slowing down and I can't go much further in this direction without making more effort and putting myself in strain. So you want to stay within that kind of like comfortable bracket of the movement. So again, one last time to describe it, the eyes come over to the right. Then as the eyes come to the end of the comfortable range, I turn my head to the right, and then everything comes back together. Everything comes back together. And see if you can just do that a few times. See if you can get the sense that the eyes are staying on the horizon, even when you get to the part of the movement that's turning the head. And then everything comes back together. And see if you can get the breathing to be smooth as you do that as well. If we were doing this lesson in standing, we could introduce further rotation of the body. I think I won't do it in sitting today. We'll work with something else, but you could take this another layer where you follow the movement of the eyes, and then the head rotates, gets to the end of its range, and then the body begins to rotate. And you feel that actually you've got such a wide possibility to survey the space to the right. Good. Once you've done it a couple of times, come back to the middle and just take a little mini rest. Feel that sense that the eyes kind of come to rest in the middle, that they're not doing any work, they're not going out to the right, they're not going out to the left. They're sitting comfortably in the eye sockets. Good. Okay, and then again, so you're going to take your eyes out to the left. Yeah, just using the movement of the eyes within the eye socket to look to the end of the comfortable range to the left. When you get to the end of that comfortable range, just turn your head. Allow the eyes to go even further. See if you can keep the eyes on the horizon as you do that movement, so that you're kind of following this movement and you're tracking an object. You can think about the animal that we used earlier. And just see that, as the eyes move over to the left, and then the head can move over to the left. And that really gives you a sense of this sort of the whole space over to the left. Like all of that space is available to you to look into. Seeing if you can keep breathing, keep the quality of the movement coming out kind of uniform as you come all the way through it. Even as you bring them both back together to the middle, and maybe you take a little rest in the middle, and then bring everything so the eyes come back out to the left, and then the head turns to the left. Everything comes back to the middle. Good. Maybe do it 1 or 2 more times. That's not working. Okay, and then take a rest. Bring your eyes back to the middle. And have your eyes closed. Have your eyes resting very gently in the middle. And think about the middle. So as your eyes are resting, where is the middle of your visual field? And most likely it's out in front of you. See if you can find that point on the horizon. Again, imagine an animal, and then begin to take your eyes once over to the left and once over to the right. Okay, and just follow the animal. See if you can follow the animal. The animal's running along the horizon to the left, then the animal's running along the horizon to the right, and you're following it. Maybe like a cat playing. And this is something that our eyes are designed to do. It's kind of to track movement, something that's been very much a part of our sort of evolutionary makeup. You know, the eyes are designed for us to be able to see the things that are moving around us, to judge whether they are safe or not safe. They also have the ability to be very fast, because sometimes the things moving about us are very fast. But in this lesson, we're just kind of seeing if we can get this sort of smoothness of the eyes, the uniformity of the movement. Good. So the eyes are moving over to the left along the horizon. Keep breathing, and then take the eyes along to the right along the horizon. And see if you can kind of get this smooth process back and forth. And then when you're ready, the next time you go over to the left and you get to the end of your range, begin to take your head a little more to the left. Follow the animal round a little more to the left of you. Bring everything back to the middle. Take the eyes to the right. Take the head to the right, and then bring everything back to the middle. So we're just kind of integrating the steps that we've done into one bigger movement. The eyes move first, the head moves next, they come back together. The eyes move first, the head moves next, they come back together. See if you can track this object around the whole of, like, it's almost like we've got 180 degrees that we can perceive in this way. You know, we really have the ability. I mean, we can't even look behind us, but you've really got this whole sort of visual field in front of you. Good. Come back to the middle. Let your eyes rest in the middle. Now, what I'd like you to do is keep your eyes rested in the middle. Keep your eyes rested in the middle so that they're looking at the point in front of you, again on the horizon, and very gently, very slowly, turn your head a little to the left and a little to the right, but keep your eyes on the point in front of you. So before, we've been organizing the eyes with the head. Yeah, that the head and the eyes can kind of move together, that they follow each other. but they can also move in an opposite direction. So the eyes could stay fixed on an object and the head can move to the left and to the right. And I can keep that object in sort of fixated on that object. If you want, you can open your eyes to do that, or you can just imagine the animal sitting in front of you and you turn your head a little to the left, turn your head a little to the right, and just see that the eyes can kind of move and track the object, almost like they're doing this surveying thing that we've been doing already, but now you're doing it just by turning the head. Okay. And then rest your eyes. Rest your eyes. And one last time, just take your eyes over to the left of you and over to the right of you and just see how that feels now. You don't need to move your head at all. Just the movement of the eyes within the eye socket, kind of tracing the movement of this animal, this imaginary animal, over to the left on the horizon, over to the right, and just see how that feels to you now. When we first did that movement at the beginning of the lesson to now, can you notice any difference in the kind of quality or the texture of the movement? Does it in some way feel lighter? Do your eyes feel more relaxed as they're making that movement? Good. And then just rest. Rest. Come back to the middle. Let your eyes do nothing for a moment. Feel that the eyes can be kind of comfortably resting within the eye socket, kind of, and the eye socket is within the structure of the skull. The skull is comfortably resting on the spine and the torso is comfortably resting on the chair. So you've got this sense of kind of support and stability, and the eyes can just comfortably let go in that space or in that support. So there's no work for them to do. And, in some way, when we let go of effort of the eyes, they in some way can become more skillful. So as we let go of tension that we're holding with our eyes, they kind of develop that lighter feeling, and that gives them an ability to act in a way that actually is more potent than when they are strained and tense. So that's the end of the lesson. Again, as I said, we're going to be continuing with the theme of eyes as we go through this week. Got a nice fun lesson for you tomorrow. That will be, again, as I said, back at the normal time of 11. Sorry, I couldn't get here for 11 this morning. If you want to rewatch this lesson or you want to send it to your friends, you can invite them to the Thoughtful Movements community group on Facebook. You could send them the link via the YouTube channel, or you can access it yourself via my YouTube channel. Anything else? Oh yes, my evening class tonight, 8 till 9 p.m. If anyone is interested, please let me know. I have seen some people try to book on my website. The booking mechanism isn't quite finished yet. I've built it, but it's not quite finished. So that's taking a bit of time for me to sort out. So just message me if you want to come, and we can organize how to make payment for it. So that's 8 till 9 this evening, and that's an hour-long Feldenkrais lesson. Generally, they're done in lying down, but there's some variation within that. Okay, well, thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the first lesson. TC said, nice start. First time, normally work at this time. Great. Well, nice to have you live, Lynn, and you're watching on YouTube, so that's great. Awesome. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. Hope you've enjoyed the lesson. As I said, if you liked it, you can share it with other people. And I will see you back here tomorrow. Okay, take care. Bye.